Hey y'all, welcome to the channel Trisha Talks About Veganism. And on today's episode, I'm gonna be explaining why dairy isn't vegan. Many people decide whether a type of cheese is vegetarian or not based on whether or not it contains rennet, an enzyme that's derived from the stomach of a calf that requires the death of the calf. But no cheese is vegan, since it involves the exploitation of an animal. I know what you must be thinking, but it's not exploitation. Cows aren't killed for their milk. Don't dairy cows need to be milked? Many people who consume dairy point out that if a dairy cow isn't milked, her udder will become uncomfortably full, leading to pain, infection, and even injury due to the buildup of milk, and will have to resort to drinking her own milk. While this is true, people who think we are doing cows a favor by consuming dairy are not seeing the whole picture. Let us take a more in-depth look at how the dairy industry works. Dairy cows, just like beef cows, cannot produce milk without calving first, and will only produce milk for about 300 days at a time. So dairy cows must be repeatedly impregnated in order to keep them lactating. When a calf drinks from its mother, it is difficult for farmers to tell whether or not the calf is getting enough sustenance until the calf starts to lose or gain weight. With beef cattle, this isn't a problem, since beef cows have been selectively bred to be great mothers and will always ensure that their calves get enough to drink. But this isn't the case for dairy cows. Dairy cows will reject some of their calves, so to ensure that the calf gets enough to drink, a dairy farmer must separate the calf from its mother and feed him his mother's milk in a bottle. So when a calf is born, it will be separated from its mother within 24 hours. Dairy farmers hate doing this because it causes great distress to both the mother cow and her calf. If the calf is born male, he will either be killed when he is a few days old, sold to a veal farm, or sold to a feedlot. There is no point in keeping him around, since steers don't produce milk. If the calf is born female, she is confined in a pen and has her horn buds removed at 8 weeks of age. The repeated impregnation of cows not only causes them emotional distress, but harms their physical well-being. Milk fever, also known as parturient hypocalcemia, is a metabolic disorder that occurs in dairy cows shortly after calving. It is caused by a sudden drop in blood calcium levels, which is essential for muscle and nerve function. This often leads to the cow being unable to stand. A cow that has lost her ability to stand is called a downer cow. Cows become downers at about 5 years of age typically. When this happens, the cow is sent to the slaughterhouse. Another reason a dairy cow may be sent to the slaughterhouse is that she has become infertile, as her being unable to produce calves results in her being unable to produce milk. A cow that has stopped producing milk and can no longer be impregnated is called a spent cow. Cows typically become spent at about 5 years of age. A cow's natural lifespan is 20 years. She is used, abused, and exploited for her entire short life. Looking at labels such as grass-fed and pasture-raised, dairy products might seem perfectly humane, but these labels are just there to make you feel better about your choices. There is no right way to do the wrong thing. I know what you're thinking, but don't happy cows produce more milk than stressed cows? Not necessarily. A farmer does not need to keep his cows happy to keep them producing milk. Many dairy farmers inject cows with hormones that boost their milk production. The hormone is called recombinant bovine growth hormone or recombinant bovine somatotropin. Ben & Jerry's removed its Happy Cows label in 2020 following a lawsuit from an animal rights group when Ben & Jerry's were unable to provide any evidence that the cows were happy. Can you imagine if there were dairy dogs? A breed of dog bred specifically for the purpose of providing milk for humans? Just imagine if people bred some dogs to produce 8 times the amount of milk that is needed to feed their puppies, separated the puppies from their mother shortly after birth, had all the male puppies either killed within a few days after being born, sold to a puppy meat farm where they'd be kept in crates so small they can hardly move, or sold to a dog meat farm and had all the female puppies confined in pens and then forced to go to the same fate as their mother. Can you imagine if we bred these dairy dogs to produce so much milk that some of them lose their ability to stand within a few years? Can you imagine that as soon as these dairy dogs lose the ability to produce milk, we send them to slaughterhouses? Would that be humane? Would that not be exploitation? Would the dogs not suffer? We have no right to exploit anyone's reproductive system. We have no right to take babies away from their mothers. We have no right to kill babies of any species. We have no right to treat a living, breathing creature like a machine that only exists to serve us.